Here's the 2025 update on Africa's economy, written by Africans. This information is from the African Economic Outlook 2025 by the African Development Bank. He's the president, that's their logo. Their aim is to basically make Africa self-sufficient. And cool thing was, it was basically done by African economists and loads of other authors, and they were tasked with researching the country that they were assigned. And it was all collated in this big report. So what's hurting the continent right now? The immediate issues are inflation. Inflation is too high. It averaged 18.7%. Now imagine your food prices going up by 18% in 1 year. Now why is inflation high? Less food available. Bad weather, droughts is ruining the crops. Less supply and demand is still high. There's also issues with the local currency losing the value as well. But hopefully not for long. Inflation is due to drop to 9.9%, single digits. This is the first time since COVID. The other immediate issue, which you've probably seen in the news, foreign aid is dropping, which you might think is a bad thing, but there's an opportunity here. But the silver lining here is that this has dropped, so African countries are now forced to basically improve. To fix the food issues and fix the inflation issues, the Development Bank basically said countries need to learn how to contain water because there are more droughts. They also told the countries that they need to use drought-resistant seeds so that crops can continue to grow, even in bad weather. And countries need to help farmers prepare for bad weather. And the other immediate thing is to get the African Free Trade Agreement running and started. The countries have signed, except Eritrea, who said they're not ready yet, but 54 out of 55 African countries. Basically just means if one country's going through drought, then they can do the free trade with another country and hopefully fill in those gaps so everyone can basically help each other in Africa. So it's almost there. They just need to work out some kinks and hopefully they can get that started. And that should help a lot with the food supply shocks that they're having. And it's going to be bigger than the EU free market, if they can get it working. Okay, time for the regional breakdown. We're starting off with Central Africa, decent growth in this region, around 4%. However, it's projected to be slowed by the conflict going on in the Congo. And Equatorial Guinea is also struggling with a drop in oil and gas exports, unfortunately. Over to East Africa, growth is actually projected to accelerate in this region from about 4 to 6% in the next couple of years. This is because of resilience in countries like Ethiopia, Rwanda, Djibouti, Uganda, and Tanzania. This is because they've invested heavily in their own domestic agriculture and energy sectors. Over to North Africa, moderate growth, 2 to 3%. This is because Egypt and Libya are underperforming due to their declining export revenues. Southern Africa, similar to the North, moderate growth. However, standout country in this region is Eswatini with 6+% growth. South Africa is dealing with a tariff shock, but it could bounce back though. Last but not least, West Africa, everyone's doing pretty good here, 5+% growth, except Ghana, Nigeria, and Sierra Leone, who are slightly under because they're having some issues. Okay, here's exactly where Africa is losing money right now. $275 billion, big companies are not paying tax. $148 billion here, this is from corrupt leaders giving contracts to their friends and not investing this in development projects. Or just stealing it. Another $90 billion here, this is money that's just leaving the country, vanishing, probably in offshore accounts, legally. And losing another $74 billion because credit rating agencies are saying African countries are high risk, so therefore charge them higher interest, even though the African countries might not even be risky. So when they're borrowing money, they get charged higher prices. Okay, but let's focus on the positives. How much money can they make if they fix these issues? They can collect $500 billion just by fixing their tax system and making sure people and businesses pay. This is basically the value of the land. So the forests, the rivers, the minerals, land, wildlife. It's probably a weak estimate, but this is a good chunk of money that they should be utilizing. Because if they value the land, then that means they can charge for its usage. This is how much money they can save if African banks just lend to each other by trusting each other and charging each other low interest rates. This is how much they can save by just forcing everyone to basically register their business and pay taxes. And this is how much money they can produce simply just by skilling up their people. You train people, they do better, they earn more, they pay more tax, and ultimately grow the economy. So if the African countries capture the potential that they've got and also plug all of these leakages, this could be up to $1.5 trillion in the economy. So that's the African Economic Outlook. You can get this directly from the African Development Bank's website. I didn't know this before, but now I know, and now you know.